All right, shalom Israel. If you brothers and sisters tuning in, if y'all can like and share the class, let everybody know we live. Again, like and share the class, let everybody know we're live. All right, shalom. Salakia. Shalom Israel, you live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer War holding down the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Since 1969, the Israelite School of UPK has been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2023, there is nothing more important than for God's chosen people to find out the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is here in the earth. So what we do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible. I'm going to hold it up for you. You see, this is a Holy Bible, King James Version, same Bible that black people have been reading out of and um, uh, going to church and having read to them for the past 200-300 years in this country. And it is within this book, the knowledge is contained, um, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is contained inside of here that will allow us to get back to being the people that God called us to be from the beginning. Throughout the duration of this class and going forward with these classes here in Memphis, you're not going to hear me use the term God anymore. We're going to use the actual meaning of the word God, which is power. When we refer to God in the ISUPK, we acknowledge the most high power. Aside from the most high power, there are the lesser powers or the angels who he have created, along with our King Yahushua, who is above all of those lesser powers. But going forward, you're not going to hear us use the term God because God is a title that does not apply to the most high or the powers that he created. We're going to use the term power. So when you read the top topic of tonight's class, it says we serve a just power. That is exactly what tonight's class is going to be about. It's going to be about the most high who we serve because we are the people who he has chosen and has given his word to so that we could be his um be an example on the earth of what it is that he created man to be. And that's the whole point of learning the truth, finding out that you're an Israelite and beginning to understand what that means for the path that you were meant to walk in life. Being an Israelite is not about being superior to other people. Being an Israelite is not about, being better than other people. Being an Israelite is about understanding your responsibility to the Most High that created you, to obey him and to serve him and to be a righteous example of what a man and a woman is supposed to be on the earth. And in 2023, God's chosen people are desperately in need of that knowledge and that understanding. We're desperately in need of that perspective on life because the way that we are living and all of the things that we have been given as culture or as examples of how people are supposed to live is causing us to be destroyed. It's causing us to be at odds with our power. It's causing us to be on a path that leads only to destruction. So the ISUPK solely exists to bring our people back from destruction to the path of righteousness that'll lead to us being prosperous and pleasing the Most High. All right. Before we get into tonight's class, if anybody has any questions, all you gotta do is type them in online. If you have any questions in class, all you gotta do is raise your hand. We have a school here in Memphis, Tennessee. The address to the school in Memphis is 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. Again, 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. If you got family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, get them in contact with the ISUPK. Very shortly here in the city of Memphis, man, there's going to be an aggressive push made here in Memphis to teach these brothers and sisters about the ISUPK and to make sure that they know that this school is here. You understand? We just coming out of the winter time. You know, I've been dealing with a recovering from a surgery and an injury, but it's starting to get warm outside, and I'm itching. You know, and it's burning in my spirit to get out here in these streets and to find these brothers and sisters who the Most High uh, has searching for the truth. You understand? We pray in these classes about opening up the internet and the airwaves and the radio channels and the cable access channels. But Memphis is one of those cities where you're not going to get people on the internet. You got to go out there in the streets and meet them and find them wherever they may be. So we're going to get very aggressive in Memphis, Tennessee very shortly, you know, teaching these brothers and sisters the truth and bringing them to class and getting them to be, you know, to at least have an opportunity to receive this knowledge. You know what I'm saying? These brothers and sisters down here in this Memphis school have banded together, man. We've been coming together, you know, scraping our funds together, making sure this building was paid and making sure that the doors stayed open. And very, very shortly, man, you know, the Most High is going to begin to manifest fruit for all this hard work we done put in. So you brothers and sisters got family, loved ones, people you care about, and you think that they might be fit to receive the truth, tell them about the school. Tell them to come on in here. If you got somebody you know that's going through a situation, they in trouble or they jammed up, they may need some help. Give them the number to the school and tell them to call and get some counsel. You understand? But very, very shortly, we're going to be out here very aggressively making sure everybody knows about the school that's down here in Midtown in Memphis. All right? Having said that, we're going to get into tonight's topic. And Shabal had a question. Officer Shabal said, Vegas said, could he get a breakdown on Isaiah 29 and 22? He just wanted a general breakdown. So let's get Isaiah chapter 29, verse 22. This phone don't stop these goddamn noises. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, here we go. Brother said he wanted Isaiah chapter 29, verse 22. Let's go ahead and get Isaiah 29 and 22. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 22. All right. It says, therefore, thus saith the Most High, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face wax pale. But when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands, in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear the Most High power of Israel. All right. So I'm going to give you the literal meaning, Shabal, and I'm also giving you the way that we've used it traditionally in the UPK. What this scripture is literally saying is we are going to know the Most High promised Abraham concerning the house of Jacob that we would never be ashamed. Meaning there was not going to come a time where we would be ashamed of being the children of Abraham, or we would be ashamed of the heritage that was given to us, or the promises that God made with Abraham concerning us. You understand? So when he says concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, is meaning there's never going to be a time where we're going to be ashamed of being who we are. And it says, neither shall his face now wax pale. What does it mean for your face to wax pale? It's for your face to turn white. It's literally for your face to turn white. But under what circumstances do we say somebody's face waxed pale, or somebody was looked like they saw a ghost, right? That's the term we use. That's a euphemism for being afraid. All right. So God is saying, I made a promise to Abraham. I redeemed Abraham concerning Jacob, concerning his children, his lineage, his descendants, that they would never be ashamed and that they would never be afraid. All right. Waxing pale is to become afraid. So the Most High said that he promised to Abraham that concerning Jacob, they would never be ashamed and they would not now wax pale. And he continues on by saying, but when he sees his children, the work of mine hands in the midst of him, this is Abraham. When Abraham sees his children in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob and shall fear the power of Israel. What does it mean to be in the midst of Abraham? To be in the same place Abraham was in when God made the promise to Abraham, when God redeemed Abraham. You understand? You read in the Bible, you read the story of Abraham. There was a time in Abraham's life where he was serving God, but didn't know what the reward was. He didn't know what the benefit was of serving God. He just knew that he didn't want to be an idol worshiper like his father and like the other people who he lived around. And because of that, Abraham blindly followed the voice of God. And Moses told him to get up and leave his father's house. Abraham got up and left because he had faith. When the Most High told Abraham to take his child Isaac and to sacrifice him, Abraham blindly took Isaac and was going to go sacrifice him. And because of that faith that Abraham had, the Most High said, you know what, man, I'm going to make a promise to you that because of how faithful you were and how, far you were willing to go to obey me, I'm going to make sure that your children are going to one day rule the earth, that they will inherit all the riches and all the wealth, and that they will obey me and have faith the way that you obeyed me and have faith, they are going to rule the earth. And in that promise that when Abraham received that promise, Abraham, he knew that he understood the purpose he was made for. He understood the reward for obeying God. And the Most High said to Abraham concerning his children, they would never be ashamed. They would never be afraid if they walked in his shoes, if they walked in Abraham. You understand? If they walked in if they walked in Abraham, in the midst of Abraham, then they would never be ashamed or afraid. And that if they did that, Abraham would see his children in the midst of him, and he would know they did what they were supposed to do, and it would be a wondrous, amazing, triumphant thing. And that's what our goal is today in ISUPK, is to get brothers and sisters to bring them back to walk in the midst of Abraham, to walk in the footsteps that our great grandfather laid down when he had faith in the Most High and obeyed him blindly. Everybody understand? Let me know if you understand, Shabal. That's what it means to be wax pale, to turn white, or be white with fear. So when the UPK, traditionally we use the scripture to show that Jacob would never be a white man. We would never wax pale. This is what the Bible says. And there are people on the earth today who have waxed pale, and it ain't Jacob. All right, that's how we use it traditionally, but in the literal sense of the breakdown, in the context of the scripture, the breakdown, that's what it's talking about. It's talking about we would never be afraid. Let me know if you understand that. While I'm waiting for Shabal to respond, a sister has a question. Sister Shakaya wants to know, what does it mean for a woman to be shamefaced in reference to Ecclesiasticus 26 and 15, okay? Okay, so we're going to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. The sister wants to know, what does it mean to be shamefaced according to Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 15. So let's go ahead and get Ecclesiasticus 26 and 15. All right. Ecclesiasticus 26 and 15 says, a shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued. All right. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued. All right. So the sister wants to know, what does it mean to be shamefaced? All right. A woman being shamefaced is the opposite of being shameless. Right? What is a shameless woman? A shameless woman is a woman who is not embarrassed by anything. A woman who is not ashamed of anything. A woman who cannot. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm trying to explain shameless because what the Bible calls shameless is what today they call a powerful, strong woman. Like there are some women who cannot be told that they're wrong or that their behavior is inappropriate or that they're acting out of character or that they should shut up or they should be quiet or they should sit down. We live in a time where the opposite of shamefaced is what women are today. Shakai, I wouldn't even say a feminist because a woman could be shameless and not be a feminist. There's a lot of these women out here who are not feminists. They're just shameless. They don't have any. Hmm. This is all right. This is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to say a shameless woman is a bitch, or a shameless woman is a whore, or a shameless woman is a woman who's loud, because that's everything that women are taught to be today, right? So to just say that, it would just be too simple. You understand? A shameless woman is a woman who believes that only what she thinks is right. You understand what I'm saying? A shameless woman is a woman who, I want to feel free today. So I'm going to go outside with a bra on and with, my private part showing. It's warm outside. So yeah, I got a bikini top on, and yeah, I got on some shorts that's too short to cover up the bottom of my behind, but so what? I'm free. I'm single. Or I got a nice body. I look good. I just want to, I'm free to dress how I want to dress. That's a shameless woman. A woman who feels like, I ain't got no man. I can have sex with whoever I want to have sex with. Hell, these niggas is doing it. I got me a main nigga. I got me a side nigga. I got me a sneaky link. I got me a nigga that take me out to buy me some food. I got a nigga to buy me a bag. I got a nigga to take me on trips. That's a shameless woman. Like she's not embarrassed by anything. She's not ashamed of anything. Yeah, so what? I got 3 kids and 3 baby daddies, and I ain't even with the third baby daddy. I got me, and you know what I'm saying. I'm working on baby number 4, baby daddy number 4. It's like, damn, you don't. Why are you telling everybody about that? Why everybody got to know your business, woman? Like, you should just. You don't feel no kind of way. It's not. You think that's something to be applauded and to celebrate? You should just be quiet. Nobody needs to know you got 4 kids and 4 baby daddies, bitch. I didn't even need to know all of that. A shameless woman is a woman who just does not have any filter, does not have any, cut cards. And I remember being young, growing up. Man, that was a thing where it was like, yeah, man. It was like women thought that, yeah, I ain't got no cut cards, or I ain't got nothing to hide. Ain't no shame in my game. They thought that was something to say to a nigga, like, ain't no shame in your game. Ugh. At the time, being young, growing up in this society as young men, we wanted a woman that was shameless because we could take advantage of her. We could use her for what we wanted and knew she wouldn't even feel bad about it. It was like, man, a shameless woman was what you wanted to find, because you mean I could have sex with her, I could pass it to my friends. They all have sex with her. We all talk about having sex with her. Maybe we all have sex with her together, video recorded, and have a party and have a good time because she doesn't have any shame. It was one of those things where it was like, yeah. But then you mature and you grow up and you realize that was absolutely horrible what that young woman was allowing us to do to her, all in the name of her not being ashamed, all in the name of her being free and doing what she wanted to do, that was utterly disgusting. We should have done none of those things. Like somebody should have been around and say, hey, what are y'all doing with this little girl, man? Y'all, this is wrong. And now, because, we grew up that way, those women grew up to be mothers and to have children. And they taught their daughters and taught their children that, ain't nothing wrong with, ain't no shame in your game. You ain't got to hide nothing. You better work what your mama gave you and all of that nonsense that shameless women embraced. It's the reason why women are the way they are now. So shameless woman is a woman that just doesn't feel any kind of way about anything. Puts on a front like anything she does is right and anything she does is okay because she grown and can't nobody tell her nothing. That is a shameless woman. A shame-faced woman is a woman who would never do certain things because of how embarrassing it is, because of how much of a bad reputation it would give them. A shame-faced woman is a woman that would never dare embarrass herself, her children, or her man. A shame-faced woman is nah, girl, I'm not going to that party tonight. No, girl, because you know what type of women gonna be there? I'm not going. I got a man at home. I got kids, girl. I can't be seen in that place. That's a shame-faced woman. A shame-faced woman is, nah, girl, I can't talk. I wouldn't even. You see how she talking? I wouldn't even talk like that. Yeah, that's I can't have nobody looking at me like I'm just say anything out my mouth. Nah, girl, I can. I'm good on that. A shame-faced woman is a okay. She might be angry. She might be in her feelings, but I'm not going to say that to my man because I know what it's going to make him feel. Or I'm not going to say that to my man knowing that his kids are here or knowing that the kids are here. I don't want my kids to think this is something that a woman should say. A shame-faced woman is a woman who thinks about consequences before she acts, before she speaks. A shame-faced woman is a woman who is conscious of how her actions may affect other people and not only concerned with doing what she wants because she's grown. Do you understand? A shame-faced woman, to be shame-faced means she wears shame on her face, meaning if she was embarrassed, you would see it on her face. If she was wrong and got caught doing something she wasn't supposed to do, you would see it on her face. She's shame-faced. You understand? And that's how women are supposed to be. Why? Because there's such an urge to not be that way. For a woman to be shamefaced, oh my man, that's a beautiful thing. It's an amazing thing. Why? Because no women are taught to be shamefaced. Society teaches women to be shameful. Don't be girl. You better flaunt. You better work. I can't even do the damn impression. It make me sick. All of that, women do whatever you want to do because you go girl and period and skirt and all that other dumbass stuff that these women be saying in society today. They are shameless. But a woman who is shamefaced and faithful is a double grace. Ooh, she's shamefaced and she faithful? You mean to tell me she does what she says she gonna do all the time? That's what it means to be faithful. Faithful means to be true to your word. A lot of you women out there, you think that a man being faithful means he's only going to be with you. That is not what it means to be faithful. I am a very faithful man, and I have more than one woman. But I'm always going to be faithful. Why? Because I will always be true to my word. I tell women when I meet them, listen, I like you, and I might see what we could have going on, but I'm just going to tell you like this. You'll never be the only one. I'll never promise you that. I'll never tell you that. Even if you are the only one, I'll tell you I got 5 others. Just so you can know that I'm faithful. Everybody understands. A man can be faithful and have other women. Because being faithful means you are true to your word. Now, if a man tells you, girl, you're the only one I want, and I can only be with you, and I'll never be with no other woman, and then you find out later on he got other women, well, then he's a liar. And he's afraid he's a little boy, and he should stop being so damn weak and scared of a woman. Everybody understands. But a woman when you get with a woman, oh man, every woman is, oh, she so want to cook for you and clean and do all these wonderful things in the bedroom, and you the center of her universe, and you the sun, and she the moon, and the earth, and all of that. Then 6 months to a year into it, and she ain't got that same enthusiasm that she used to have. She ain't cooking like she used to. Damn, the house ain't clean like it was when you first was coming over there. She damn near done got lazy and tired of, doing the things you like to do in the bedroom. Woman, you ain't faithful. You sold me a goddamn dream. Where's you? I want to return you to where I got you from, because this bill of goods on this sale, this dream that I was sold, goddamn run out. I want my refund. You understand? But if you find a woman that's faithful and shamefaced, ooh wee, brother, that's a double grace. All right. So I think the sister Shakaya gets it, understands it. We can hop off of that. All right. We can get back to the topic of tonight's class, which is we serve a just power. I wanted to go through this breakdown tonight, because when you coming out of Christianity and out of religion, the whole purpose of the religion of Christianity that was given to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and the whole view of God, the viewpoint that we were given concerning the Most High, was one of hope and what's the word I'm looking for? Hope and foolish faith that somehow you could do whatever you wanted to do, be whatever you wanted to be, and all you had to do was believe in God, and everything in your life would work out. And everything good and wonderful would happen to you. The religion that we were given in these churches was a religion that was full of just wait, just wait, just wait. And one day God is going to show himself to you. One day God is going to reveal himself and all the goodness and the wondrous, beautiful things that happen in your life. And if it never happens in your life, you'll die. And then you'll get to see God. You'll know after you die that God is real and God is great and God is wonderful. And that is not what the Bible says at all about the Most High. The Bible tells us that the Most High, not only is he real and true, but that he is present in our lives at all times. You can see the Most High in everything that is going on in your life every day if you understood the true nature of the Most High. If you understood that the power that we serve is a just power, fair and balanced and equal, then you would be able to see him moving in your everyday life. And that is not something that a lot of us are able to see because of the religion of Christianity, because of the lies that we have been told. So today I wanted to discuss how we serve a just power, and give brothers and sisters the understanding that the Most High isn't only moving in your life when things are going well for you, when everything is looking good and everything is wonderful and great. Sometimes the Most High is working in your life when everything is falling apart, when things on the wall seem like they're crashing in, when it seems like everything is going bad for you. Those are the times that you can see the Most High. But too often, because of religion, we view bad times as though they are of the enemy, or though it's Satan trying to get you down. No, sometimes it's the Most High trying to get you to trust him, trying to show you to lean on him. And if you trust in the Most High and you have faith, you'll realize that all the things that you go through in life, all the ups and downs and everything that you endure, in the end, the Most High is just. Because who are we to not have a bad day? What have you done in your life to deserve to never have a bad day? What have you done to please the Most High for nothing bad to ever happen to you, nothing to ever seemingly go wrong? Who told you that life was going to be full of happiness and flowers and roses all the time? That's just not the truth. The truth is that we serve a just power. We're going to learn about him tonight. All right. So the first scripture we're going to go to is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 4. All right. All right. It's Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 4. It says, He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment, a power of truth and without iniquity. Just and right is he. That's the Most High who we serve. That's the creator of the heavens and the universe and the ultimate authority of all things living and dead. You understand? One more time. Deuteronomy 32 and 4 says, He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment, a power of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he. And so, what does that mean for us? It means when we open up this Bible and we read his word and we read about his laws and read about his instructions and read about the judgments that he has for those who do wrong and the rewards he has for those who do good, all of it is perfect. All of it is just. It's balanced. All of it is weighed in fairness. And when you understand that, when you respect that, then it causes you to have to analyze your life and the way that you're living when you're encountering situations and circumstances in life that cause you to feel like maybe he's not just. This is Exodus chapter 23, verse 22. It says, But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies and an adversary unto thine adversaries. Everybody understands? Moses said, if we were to obey his voice and to do what he told us to do, that he would be an enemy to our enemies and an adversary to our adversaries. When I came into the truth, one of the things that I loved the most about being in the ISUPK was the freedom that we were given to express that our oppressor was the devil that the Bible speaks of. You understand? I'm just going to say it. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. I remember I came into truth in 2010. Those were the most beautiful words I'd ever heard in my life. And it wasn't a thing about what I had felt personally. It nothing personal had happened in my life to cause me to believe that. But that's something that I was raised to believe my whole life. It's something that my mother expressed to me growing up, something that my grandfather believed. I believe he believed wholeheartedly, but it was a thing in my family that being black was special and unique. And that you were not, didn't need to feel inferior to these oppressors or to feel like they were someone who you needed to have their approval. And that's something that I was raised with. And all my life I struggled with it, growing up around these devils and going to school with these devils and trying to be friends. I had friendships with devils when I was in the world, but it was always a side-eyed kind of, yeah, devil, I know you don't really, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. Growing up, I don't know if I had a unique experience with devils and with other nations, you know what I'm saying? But I grew up with I had a Jewish friend. I had where was these cats from? I don't even know if they was East Indian. I think they was either Pakistani or East Indian. But I had an East Indian friend and I had a El Salvadorian friend. Robbie Breslaw, Christian Avila, and Ashish Francis. Man, these are my middle school buddies. These are my friends. And all through school, all we used to do was make fun of each other and pick at each other's cultural stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? But that was the relationship we had. I was the black guy, had the Migo, had the Habib, and had the, you know what I'm saying, the hook nose. And we made fun of each other, but we were young, we was friends. Spent the night over each other's houses and went and hung out and played video games and stuff together. And then, go on summer vacations and summer trips. I go 2 weeks to the lake house with the Breslaws and then go down to the, quinceanera with Christian and his family, and then go with a sheesh to go eat goddamn curry. And, we had a whole cultural experience with each other. But I remember as we got older, beginning to understand that we were very, very um, different in how we were developing into men, meaning the expectations on our lives were different based on the cultures that we came from. And I remember when our relationships began to be strained as friends because clearly we weren't all going in the same direction. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we all was smart, we all was intelligent, we all did good in school, but it was understood that Ashish had to go be a doctor. It was expected. It was nothing less that he could do with his life. So he didn't have time to go to the parties and go hang out and date and have a girlfriend because he had to be head in them books. And there were certain things that the Jewish kid could no longer do because his parents sat on this board and his parent was a part of this uh, uh, charitable organization that he had to go and do these events and attend these things. And with me and the amigo cat, it was like he was hell. He wasn't gonna go to college. He wasn't in the books for him. He wasn't going to. Moms couldn't afford the loan, and he really wanted to be a mechanic and work on cars. So he was just going to be around the way after high school. And then for me, it was like I really could have did anything I wanted to do. The expectation was you're gonna go to college and you're gonna do this and that, but hell, ain't nobody else in my family been to college. Ain't none of my cousins went to college. Like shit, I could just I could just go get a job or do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? But becoming men, we naturally drifted apart. And I can remember, I came into the truth, man, about 5, 6 years after high school. And I could just remember comparing my life to all the other people who I had went to school with and looking at all of the places that they were and the things they were doing. And some of them, a lot of them was just finishing up college and coming back home. And I remember that I was, doing my thing. But man, when I found a lot of the pressures that I felt, a lot of the pressure to succeed or the pressure to be somebody or the pressure to be at a certain place in my life, when I found the truth, man, all that pressure went away because the truth allowed me to realize that none of that shit mattered and none of it meant anything. But for the East Indian kid, it absolutely meant everything. That pressure was what his whole life was about. For the Jewish kid, that pressure absolutely meant everything because how could he be any less than what his parents expected him to be? You know what I'm saying? And then for me and the Hispanic kid, it was like, hell, we was just we living our life, man. Life is whatever we make it. We got the whole world ahead of us. You know what I'm saying? But then to come into the truth and realize, like, man, none of that shit ain't even what's important in life. What really matters is serving the Most High. It was such a weight off my back. And when I learned that the white man was the devil that the Bible speaks of, all of that stress and that pressure and everything that I felt that I was battling against, in this world went away. But then as you grow in the truth and you live, and the oppressor no longer becomes a problem for you in your personal life, you start to realize that he ain't the only oppressor. The oppressor isn't the only force that's working against you. You be in the truth for some time, and the oppressor no longer becomes a problem for you personally. You begin to realize that a lot of these issues and things that you struggle with are within you, or they're within the people who you love, within the people who you care about. And now, yes, the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. But that same spirit that's in him is crept into a lot of us. And now, who is my biggest fight with? Who's my biggest battle? Who is it that I'm constantly praying to the Most High to help me from, or to give me peace and to give me clarity and to help me deal with? It becomes my own people. It becomes the brothers and sisters who the Lord sent us out here to wake up, to heal. You know what I'm saying? To give them the truth. A lot of the times, man, when you come into the truth and you live in the truth for some time, your biggest adversary will be what's inside of you. And your second biggest adversary will be what's inside of somebody who looks like you. Somebody who, and otherwise you would try to save or try to deliver or try to wake up to the truth. But you come to find that so much of what is in the oppressors inside of them that you just be like, man, to hell with these niggas. Damn these niggas, man. And that's what you want to fight against. You understand? The Most High told us that if we were to obey him, that he would be an enemy to our enemies and an adversary to our adversary. You understand? The white man is the biggest adversary that we have in the nation of Israel. And once we conquer him, then we have to conquer the adversary that is within us and that is within our brothers and our sisters. You understand? But the Most High is just in that he's a stout. Another thing that I learned coming to the truth that really fueled me. That's something that General Muhammad always taught. He taught us that the oppressor was an worthy adversary. You understand that this white man who has ruled over us and who has conquered us and who has taught us, given us a culture and a religion and a belief that completely goes against everything that the Most High stands for, made him something that we should be proud to fight against. You understand? That this man has done so much on the side of evil to keep us away from the Most High and to keep us away from his knowledge and to keep us from ever thinking of becoming the children that God called us to be, that we should relish in the opportunity of fighting against him. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's, man, driven me in all my days in the truth, is that I want to see these devils fall. I want to be there on the day when our King returns and these devils are given their judgment. I want to be there on the day when the sentence is read for them, when they get to hear what their fate is because of the evil and the treachery and the wickedness that they have propagated on the earth. Man, I pray the Lord allow me to be there for that day, because it is going to be an amazing day, not only for them, but for all of us who have fought knowing that only a few going to be able to see that day. Only the most honorable and the most righteous and the most disciplined and the most serious about serving the Most High are going to be able to see that day. You understand? And along the way to get there to that day, brother, you're going to have to endure a lot. You're going to have to suffer a lot. And you're going to have to do it knowing that the Most High is just. And everything that we endure and everything we suffer, it's honorable and it's righteous for us to endure it for the name of the Most for the name of the Most High. You understand? What does it mean when we say in the name of the Most High? Meaning for his reputation, for his name, his reputation to be great in the earth. Those who serve him should be those who are the strongest and the most disciplined and the most focused and have endured the most hell. You understand? When you go through things in life, it makes other people who know you admire you and look at you like, man, he's still pushing, man, he's still rolling strong. Damn, man, nigga, hardcore. That's an Israelite trait. That's a thing that comes from the Spirit of God. There's no other people on the earth who, well, maybe, and I'm gonna say it's only an Israelite thing, but it is a righteous thing. Meaning, who else glorifies the people who have suffered the most? You know what I'm saying? In the Bible, there's a book of Job. The book of Job. Let's get the book of Job. Let's go ahead and read a little bit about Job. All right. This is on the topic of the Most High being just. Let's get the book of Job. We're gonna get the first chapter. All right. It's the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 6. And this is something, of all the peoples on the earth, of all the records that have been written, of all the stories that have been told about God and all of the scriptures of all the religious scriptures of all the nations on the earth, the Bible is the only one where you will hear tales of man enduring suffering. You understand? For no other reason but to glorify the Most High. And all of the Greek mythologies and all of the Roman fables and all of the Vedas of the East Indians, the Krishnas, and all of the the poems of the Buddhas. There's nothing written concerning the suffering of man like you'll read in the Bible. And the suffering of man for a righteous cause, for an honorable, noble um understanding of deliverance. Only place you're going to find that is in the Bible. So we'll read the book of Job. Job chapter 1, verse 6 says, Now there was a day when the sons of God, the sons of the power, came to present themselves before the Most High. And Satan came also among them. So all the angels came to present themselves to the Most High. All the powers, all the angels of the Most High, right? The sons of the power. And Satan was there with them. And the Most High said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Meaning, give me your report. What you been doing, Satan? He said, Then Satan answered the Most High and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Most High said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that fears the Most High and eschews evil? Then Satan answered the Most High and said, Does Job fear the Most High for naught? Has not thou made an hedge about him and about his house and about all that he has on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance has increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Most High said unto Satan, Behold, all that he has is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Most High. You understand? This is a book about a man who was perfect and righteous and honorable, and God daring Satan to try him. God daring Satan to try and break him. See if you can break him. I bet you can't break him. Have you tried Job? Don't you know, man, he's perfect, man. Ain't nobody like Job. Job fears the Most High. He hate evil. Man, that's a perfect brother. I bet you can't break him. And then Satan say, of course I can't break him. Hey, you got a hedge around him. You've been protecting him. Of course he's going to flourish. Of course he's going to be blessed. I bet you stop watching over him and see what happened to him. Most I said, oh, for real? Go try him. Just don't hurt his body. You can do whatever you want to do to him. Watch. Bet you he stands strong. That's our power. That's our just power. You understand? He knows what he created when he made us. He knows the level of honor we have. He knows how much integrity we have. He knows if you're shamefaced or if you're shameless. He knows if you're faithful or if you are a coward. And he will try you to prove you. That's what makes him just. The book of Job is about a man who had done everything right. And then God allowed everything bad to happen to him. And in all of his suffering and in all of his complaining and all of his questioning, he never said, I'm above this. In fact, he was restored in everything when he acknowledged, I am just a man. And whatever the Most High sees fit for me to suffer, then I'll suffer it, but I'll never turn my back on him. When he realized that is when everything was restored to him. And that you'll only find that in the Bible, because the Bible is the only source that comes from the power, comes from the Most High. You understand? Let me make sure I get this in my notes. That's Job chapter 1, 6 through 12. My bad. Job 1, chapter 6 through 12. All right, let's drop that. Let's get um well, let's get Isaiah chapter 48. Let's get Job chapter 48. I mean Isaiah 48. All right, let's get. I'm gonna see if I can find the right spot. But we in Isaiah 48th chapter. All right, Isaiah 48. Let's get Isaiah chapter 48 and 6. All right, no, Isaiah 48 and 9. And this is concerning the time that we're living in. A lot of our people, when you come into the truth and you hear that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and you hear us speaking about us being the children of Israel, and how all of our suffering and the things that we've endured in this country has been because of our wickedness and our sins against God. A lot of times, people ask the question, "Well, if God is so just and God is so right, why did He even make wicked people? If we the children of Israel and God is and the Most High is our power, why would He let us go into captivity? Why would we go into slavery? Why would we live in a country today where there's police brutality and there's drugs and there's all these things that are happening to us?" The Bible gives us all the answers. The Bible tells us why these things are the way that they are and why we are set to endure the things that we are set to endure. That's what we're going to read here in Isaiah chapter 48, verse 9. All right. Isaiah 48 and 9 says, "For my name's sake will I defer mine anger, and for my praise will I refrain for thee, that I cut thee not off." We are in the midst of a time where the Most High is being the most merciful to us as a people, because we are in the midst of the most evil time that man has ever lived on the earth. We are in the midst of the most sinful kingdom that has ever been on the earth, committing the most heinous, disgusting acts ever thinkable. I was having a conversation the other day on this social media app about pornography, and it was a conversation that was being had about OnlyFans. And the sister was saying how, yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with OnlyFans. People got to do what they got to do to make money. You know what I'm saying? And I was just saying, like, was texting in the thing, and I'm just like, man, all that is disgusting. And any woman that thinks it's okay to sell her body, it's because really she's just a slave. Like, she doesn't even know the value of, they don't even understand the concept of integrity and having honor. You're gonna pay somebody to take your clothes off? You think somebody should pay for you to take your clothes off? And then in the conversation, the sister was saying, well, I think people should just support people. Depending on, it don't matter how somebody want to live. I think we should just support one another. And I was like, some things need to not be supported. Some things need to be, boycotted. OnlyFans should be boycotted. Why? Because the people who resort to things like OnlyFans are people who have been hurt. They have been damaged. They are people who are shameless. You understand? Somebody who would use their body in a perverse manner to get paid from it is somebody who has been devalued. Somebody who has been so hurt and so broken and are so lost in life that they think that this is an acceptable way to live. When someone who's in that condition needs healing, they need someone to care about them enough to say, no, you are better than that. That's not why God put you here. You shouldn't be reduced to living this way. And here's what I end up expressing in the conversation is that we live in a modern time in 2023, and we think things like pornography are regular. When prior to 40 years ago on the earth, pornography didn't exist. What do I mean by that? There were no porno movies in the 1960s. They didn't even have tapes. Now maybe they had movies. You go to a movie theater and sitting there. I've heard horrible stories about the time before everybody had a TV in their house. But what did they do before TVs was made? TVs is not even 100 years old. So you have to think, visually seeing somebody having sex wasn't even something that was possible 60 years ago. So how would you be able to see somebody having sex? You would actually have to go to some place where somebody is in a room having sex and you get to watch out the curtain or something Somebody having sex. Okay, how gross is that? How horrible of a visual is that? That you got to go to some place and watch somebody have sex, right? So you don't get to, you're not having sex yourself. You're watching somebody else have sex. How are you watching them have sex? You paid for them to have sex. The person who's having the sex that you're paying for to watch them have the sex, they aren't the one collecting the money because they're the one having the sex. So how are you gaining access to this room where you can watch these people have sex from behind this curtain? And what life are the people in the room who are having sex living if their job and their pay is going to this dark room and have sex and people can look at you through the curtains? That's what pornography is. That's what OnlyFans is. You think it's you don't think it's such a big deal because these are just imaginary virtual people who are looking on an app. But you getting $4.99 a month for niggas to watch you do perverse things to your body with who God knows what and God knows who, and you think it's okay because you don't have to look at them in their face, you don't have to see their faces. It is an absolutely wretched, disgusting, horrible, vile thing for someone to do to themselves. And whoever's paying for it, they're absolutely taking advantage of this person being broken and hurt and doing this to themselves. And we have to stop being so, man, the evil of this society is that we should applaud that somehow, or it's somehow acceptable, or it's a, yeah, man, you got to do what you got to do to get this money. God, since when? Since when did we become those people? Where that's, that was, come on, man. Pornography was something a crackhead did, or some woman who snorted cocaine, or somebody who came from a broken home. Well, damn, now that's our whole community because all these hoes think it's okay to be on OnlyFans. Where's the shame-faced women at? Where are the grandmas who believe in God and who raised their children the right way and gave them, some kind of morals and some kind of values? It's an absolutely wretched, horrible thing. And that is why we are in the condition that we're in, because we have begun to accept that these things are normal or okay, when in actuality, they are the exact things that God speaks about in the Bible. Salakia. The brother Iraq said, Salakia, sir, but he said, if I may, wasn't peep shows a thing before? Okay, and then Shekiah said, ain't that following white people culture? Okay, this is what I want y'all to understand, right? Peep shows were a thing, right? But think about the running of a peep show. Stories I've heard back in the 70s and the 80s and 70s and the 60s. This is before, like I said, before TVs. A peep show was the thing you went and paid 25 cents. You get to go for 5 minutes and look through a curtain. And in the curtain, maybe a woman having sex with a guy, right? Maybe whatever's happening behind that curtain, you paid your 25 cents. And you get to do whatever you got to do in them 5 minutes to get finished and leave, make your quarter be worth it, right? But the people who were in the room having the doing the thing you paid 25 cents for, what kind of people were they? And understand this. If you're younger than 30, you may not understand this. You may not know this. But the 70s and the 80s was an absolutely horrible time in the black community. Like, it was worse than the 90s and the 2000s. Like, I've just now begun to go back and look at documentaries and look at videos and things like that from before, my time when I came into the earth. And it was absolutely horrible. These people were drug addicts. They was hooked on heroin, hooked on cocaine, hooked on crack. They were absolutely the most degenerate, low type of people on the earth. And the people who went to the peep shows knew this, that they knew that they had this opportunity because of how down bad these people were, how horrible their life was. You go look at the beginning of the porno industry, the pornography industry, and the people who were there. Go watch a movie like Studio 54. Those people were absolutely the most wretched, low down, base people on earth. And yes, the idea of it, the culture of it comes from the Greeks and the Romans, right? So it goes back in the ancient days. But in ancient days, those orgies and things of that nature were not something that everybody participated in. Those were high class functions, meaning those were the, just like today. Orgies ain't just you Joe Blow off the street. You can't just go and find an orgy party and go walk up in the orgy with your thing out. Every man who can't have sex with a woman would be doing that if that was the case. The whole swinger culture is a high society thing. You can't be some bum off the street and go be a swinger, nigga. You gotta have money to be a swinger. You gotta have relationships with people and know people and have money. You gotta be accepted into the club to go and be a swinger. You don't just wake up one day and be like, you know what, man, I ain't had no sex in a while. My game really ain't that tight. Let me just go be a swinger. It's not how that happens. It absolutely happens because people are in a position to take advantage of you. And they groom you and talk to you and your wife and convince you that, yeah, man, big thing. I watch my wife get plowed through all the time. And at first, it kind of made me feel some kind of way, but then I got to plow somebody else's wife. And before you know it, we all just plowing, and it's a good, wonderful time. But that ain't nothing that you just wake up one day and be like, yeah, man, I'm going to go be part of the orgy team. No, you don't. That's not how it happens. It is absolutely a culture that is built on people with money and power and influence taking advantage and breaking other people. The same with pornography, the same with OnlyFans. It's a system that perpetuates itself on abuse and neglect and the continual trauma of people who have been traumatized prior. And if you're somebody who engages in it and indulges in it, then you are a part of the problem. That OnlyFans thing today is no different than the peep shows of 50 years ago. It's no different than the orgies from, the Greeks and Roman days. It is absolutely a tool to demoralize and to devalue the life of people. And it is completely contrary and against God, against what He gave us as a culture and a way of life. Everybody understands. I was explaining to y'all about the conversation I had with the sister about the OnlyFans because there is a prevailing mindset today that all money is good money. It don't matter how you make it, man. It's money. You got to get this money. You got to pay these bills, when it absolutely does matter how you make your money. If you making money putting a penis in your mouth on record and posting it to the internet, bitch, you're a hoe. You're a prostitute. If you're making money taking your clothes off butt naked and dancing in front of a camera and then putting it on the internet, you're absolutely a disgusting, vile person. If you're somebody who has a little bit extra money laying around and you support somebody who's getting butt naked on the internet, shaking their behind or putting a penis in their mouth, brother, you're absolutely a part of them. You're absolutely taking advantage of that person, and you should be ashamed of yourself. How wretched are you? Because those people today who are doing it are no different from the people who did it 70 years ago, 80 years ago. All the things that you could do with your life, and you think God put you down here to put a penis in your mouth while people watch from behind a curtain? What are you going to do when you're done with that penis in your mouth? You're going to go get high. You're going to go, try and cover up all the pain and the hurt that you feel. What you think the bitch who doing it on the internet is doing? Why do you think she needs that $5.99 so bad? So she can go get high. So she can go buy something nice to cover herself up with so she can feel better, feel like not such a dirty slut. Listen, putting a penis in her mouth and recording it to put on the internet is very different than just putting a penis in her mouth with her husband in the room. It ain't the same thing. People act like, oh yeah, porno, making a flick is like having sex with your significant. No, it ain't. No, it's not. It ain't the same. It's not the same. The enjoyment ain't the same. The purpose of it ain't the same. Oh God, ugh. It's rough. But the people who are doing it, hitting the send button is absolutely. It's got to be a gut wrenching of a feeling. And we as a people have been conditioned to ignore that feeling. We've been conditioned to that thing that says, I can't believe I'm doing this. We've been taught to not think about that. We've been taught to ignore that. Oh, don't, man, that's just, what it is. Man, I watched them. I remember the movie Pulp Fiction. There's a scene in the movie Pulp Fiction where Bruce Willis is sitting down with Ving Rhames and they're making a deal for him to throw the boxing match. And Ving Rhames is telling him, I know what you're thinking. I know that feeling in the back of your stomach. I know that sick feeling. Don't listen to that. That's your pride speaking. Your pride is telling you to not go down, to not take the fall. The pride is telling you that you can't lose this fight, but you better fight against that pride. When in actuality, it ain't pride. It's your spirit. It's your spirit saying, by everything that is wholesome and righteous and good in the Lord's sight, don't do this thing that is beneath you. Don't allow yourself to stoop so low. I remember what it felt like selling crack for the first time. Nigga, it's the same feeling. I remember what it felt like, man. Come on, man. I know that feeling. We all know that feeling. We know the feeling of this shit ain't right. I shouldn't be doing this. And I don't care where you came from in life, what kind of environment you grew up in. You felt that thing that just, I shouldn't do this. That's your spirit speaking, man. That's the Lord telling. That's the holy part of you fighting against the flesh, saying, no, don't do this thing. This is evil. This is horrible. Please don't do this. And I know we all know the feeling that comes after we go through with it. I know we all know the laugh, that thing inside of you that says, you ain't shit. You actually did it. You went through with it. Man, I don't know what's going to happen to you now. You done did it now, man. You in it. Come on, man. We all know that feeling. This world has taught you that feeling is okay. That feeling is what you should embrace. You should embrace it. You should embody it. You know, it's a dog eat dog world. You know, every man for himself. And you know, it's a cold world, man. You gotta do what you gotta do out here, man. You gotta support your family. Man, damn that, man. Damn that. Nothing in life should ever cause you to feel that way. And you would never have ever felt that way if you were taught to serve the Most High. If you were taught that the Most High is a just power. If you were taught that to fight that feeling of doing something that you know to fight to not do that thing that you know you're not supposed to do is the greatest feeling you could ever have in life. If the worst feeling in life is giving in, knowing I shouldn't do this thing, man, I shouldn't do this, this is horrible, I shouldn't do it, and you do it anyway, we all know how bad that feels. If we were taught that the greatest feeling is not doing that thing when you know you shouldn't do it, how different would our lives be? How different would the lives of all of our brothers and sisters be if we knew that you didn't have, there's a way you can live in life where you ain't got to go get high because you're trying to forget what you did, or trying to forget how low you've sunken, or trying to forget, how far you've fallen. Man, who wouldn't want to choose that? Who wouldn't want to be able to have an opportunity to reset and live our lives doing the right thing all the time? Doing the thing that we're not going to regret, doing the thing that's going to have us proud of who we are, and able to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, man, I did it. It was hard. It was difficult, but look at what I did. Look at where I'm at now. That's the thing that we're fighting against in this kingdom. That's what we're fighting against with this oppressor. And it's absolutely a fight that's worth fighting. If I could get one brother or one sister to be able to feel that feeling of having conquered their desire to want to do something that they know they're going to absolutely regret because it's wrong and it's evil, then man, the Lord didn't allow me to fulfill my purpose on this earth. Everybody understands? I said all that to say, Isaiah 48:9 is speaking about the time that we're in now. You understand? The time we're in now is the time where the Most High says, Isaiah 48:9, for my name's sake will I defer mine anger. He's deferred his anger. The Lord is angry, man. He pissed off about everything he see going on. but he's deferred it. He's holding that anger back. And for my praise will I refrain for thee. He knows that there's a praise that he's supposed to receive from a people who have been allowed an opportunity to change and get it right. So for that praise that he knows he's supposed to receive, I cut thee not off. He hasn't cut us off. Verse 10, behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. We are being refined right now. We are being made better. We are being purified. We are being cleansed. We are being made holy again. How are we being made holy? How are we being cleansed? How are we being made right? In the furnace of affliction. Your life in America that you lived before the truth is the reason why you're going to come in here and serve the Most High. It's the reason why you're going to be such a diligent servant of God, because you know what that life is like out there. You know that feeling that I just was talking about. Because you've experienced that, you're going to come in here and never look back. Man, I'll never look back at my life in the world. What am I missing? OnlyFans? The block, nigga, selling crack, getting money and being in the club popping bottles, scared to death because I know that I ain't got no gun in the club because the security was tight tonight. But I see these niggas in here, buddy with security. How I know they ain't get their guns in, and I ain't got my guns, and when we leave, it might pop off, but we ain't got no guns. Nigga, you think I missed that? I don't miss that. Nah, hell no. You want to go back to that, looking over your shoulders, not knowing you scared of your ops, scared of the police, scared of the hoe you just met, because she could be trying to take you home and get you set up. Man, I'm not missing none of that. For what? For what? Nah. The Lord chose me in the furnace of affliction. Man, I had to endure a lot to be where I am now. I had to go through so much to make the changes that I made in my life. And the Lord chose me in the midst of that. I'm never going back. And you would never go back neither. And the brothers and sisters who are going to hear this truth and are going to come in here and they're going to learn and they're going to be chosen in that same furnace, they ain't never going to look back, man. Because once the burning of being born again, that fire that you're born in, you can't go back and, you can't get back what has been burnt off. And that's such a perfect way for the Most High to describe us coming into the truth, or us being transformed. Again, Isaiah 48:10, behold, I have refined thee. I have refined you. You were in one condition, you weren't perfect. You weren't whole. You were in pieces. You was beaten down, broken. But I have refined you. How do you refine something? Let's get the definition of refine. I'm actually going to get refinement is the word we're going to get. Refinement. All right. We're going to get the definition of the word refinement. All right. This ain't helping me out. The action or process of refining. That's not what I'm looking for. But refinement is the word I'm looking for. Let's get the definition of refining. All right. Because refining is very specific. The Lord could have said, I cleaned you. Could have said, I built you up. He didn't say it. He said, I refined you. All right. Listen to the definition of refining. To free something such as metal, sugar, or oil from impurities or unwanted material. That's what it means to refine something. To free it from whatever was keeping it impure or keeping it unwanted. That's what the Lord is doing with us when we come into the truth. He's freeing us from what? From all your sins, from all the evil that you've grown accustomed to not thinking about, from all the things that you're running away from all the childhood traumas that are chasing you and constantly reminding you every day that you ain't shit. You come into the truth and are freed from that. The process of becoming brand new, wearing all black, sisters covering their head, nobody talking to you, nobody speaking to you. That is necessary for you to be refined. It's necessary for you to be freed. Freedom isn't something that happens overnight. It isn't something that somebody gives to you. Freedom is something that you earn, something that you work for. You understand? Them brothers and sisters back in the slavery days, the Underground Railroad niggas, they understood freedom. Why? Because they had to fight and slave and run from it. They had to go and sleep under floorboards and shit to get to freedom, nigga. They had to go travel in the dark to get to freedom. All them Negro spirituals about following the drinking gourd, nigga. You had to do that to get to freedom. When the white man fought a civil war and came to the South and said, hey, niggas, y'all free now. Them niggas ain't know what to do. Free? What the fuck you mean we free? Them niggas ain't go nowhere. Go do the history in your, wherever you from, if you from the South, and find out what happened when the soldiers came and said y'all free. Them niggas ain't go nowhere. The niggas who was freed stayed right there and worked on the same plantation they were slaves on. Because what the fuck you mean we free, nigga? Okay, all right, whatever. Now I'm free. What is we supposed to do? Work a job, get money to pay rent? Well, I'm doing that in Mr. Johnson's plantation already. Them niggas that traveled on that Underground Railroad, them niggas understood free. Them niggas got free. They fought to get free. They cried to get free, prayed to get free, hid out in boxcars and traveled on train tracks to get free. They understood freedom. When you fight to get right with the Lord, you fight to come into the truth. Oh, nigga, I understand what it means to be free. I'm a free man today. I could go out there on the street and say the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. You know who doesn't understand that? A nigga who ain't never fought for nothing in his life. And you know who's a nigga who ain't never fought for nothing in his life? A nigga who lives the life that the oppressor taught him to live. I don't care if you wear a business suit every day and you gotta, work for a Fortune 500 company or you selling crack. Them two niggas got the same life because they are living and doing exactly what the oppressor told them to do. I don't care if you a woman you got 4 kids and 4 baby daddies on Section 8 and you living in the projects and you get high and wear colorful weaves and, whatever the typical bad stereotype of a black woman is today. I don't care if you that or if you high price hoe who has sex on OnlyFans and gets paid $400,000 a year. Bitch, y'all the same hoe. Y'all living the same life that the oppressor carved out for you. But if you don't eat pork and shrimp and crab and lobster, you don't celebrate Christmas, if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, if you don't stand for the national anthem at any public function, if you a man and you grow your beard out and you wear your braids and you put on black boots and you put fringes on your pants, you understand, and you rock the shield of David, you know what it's like to be free. You know what it's like to live a life of honor and integrity and dignity. I know when I go places and people are looking at me, they are looking at me trying to understand, what is this free nigga doing? I know what it felt like for slaves to walk around. Man, listen. My mother told me this when she was told me this when I was young. She took a trip to the South sometime when she was a kid. And I don't know where she went to, but she was from up north. She from DC, so she go places. She used to holding her head up and looking people in their eyes and talking to them. And she says, told me some story about she went to some place when she was a little young girl. I don't know if she was young. She might have been a teenager, but she paid for her food and looked the lady in her eye and asked and waited for the lady to hand her change back. And when she left out the store, her friends was like, girl, what's wrong with you eyeballing that white lady like that? And she was like, eyeballing a white lady? What you mean? And she was like, girl, we don't be looking at people in their eyes down here. Girl, you gonna get us in trouble. You one of them uppity niggas. And I remember her telling me the story, and to me it was outrageous. But I couldn't imagine what it was like for her to hear niggas saying, and this is the 70s or the 80s, whatever time it was, black power and shit was going on. You look them in their eyes. What you niggas talking about? It ain't 1492. It is 1976. What do you mean look them in their eyes? What you supposed to do? That, I understand that now because I walk around with fringes on and boots and I look the police. I go talk to the police. And it's like, man, I know what it's like to be free. And in 2023, there are so many people who have no idea what freedom is. You understand? The Bible says, the Lord said that he refined us. In Isaiah 48:10, I have refined thee. but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. The definition of refining is to free something such as metal, sugar, or oil from impurities or unwanted material. The second context of refining, to free from moral imperfection. The synonym used there is to elevate. You want to elevate in life, you have to be refined. Refined from what? Refined from the culture and the way of life that you were given by your oppressor. That shit your mama and them did that caused their life to be horrible and fucked up. You can't do that same thing and expect for your life to be better. I know a lot of us wish we could go back to how things used to be. No, we should not want to go back to how things used to be. We should want things to be better. How can things be better if you don't do nothing different? And a lot of us doing things different means you're doing it worse. A lot of us was raised in families that taught us to have sense and that taught us to have pride and that taught us to value something. But we've grown and threw all that away, man. Just because you find out that your grandma's Jesus wasn't real don't mean that everything else your grandma taught you was wrong. Just because you live your life and you can't see going to some goofy church where they robbing you and stealing you from your money don't mean that there's not a God, that there ain't a higher power that you should subject yourself to. Just go find out the truth. Stop thinking you know it all. Stop thinking you better than the people that came before you, because you're not. You're worse in a lot of ways. But you ain't got to stay that way. You could elevate. You could be refined. How? By ridding yourself of your moral imperfections. Where do those moral imperfections come from? Your oppressor. The white man, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He is the source of all of your moral imperfections. And if you would turn away from him, then you might find that there is a power out there that has a blueprint for how you should live in righteousness. And if you follow that blueprint, then you will be refined. Then you will elevate. Then you will be better than the life that you were given by your oppressor and the people who followed in his footsteps. Keep reading. The third context says to improve or perfect by pruning or polishing. You understand? That's what it is to be refined. And that is what God has said he is doing for us. He's holding back his anger. He's holding back the destruction. He ain't going to wipe us off because there's praise that he is due. And he's going to receive that praise for refining us, not with silver, but choosing us in the furnace of affliction. Isaiah 48:11. For mine own sake, even for mine own sake will I do it, for how should my name be polluted, and I will not give my glory unto another. Everybody understand? This is the Lord, this is the Most High speaking. He is just in everything he does, man. He will not let his name be driven through the mud. He will not let it be said that the people who were called after his name is just a bunch of drug addicts and drug dealers and OnlyFans hoes and niggas and you know, I hear so much horrible stuff from people in the world. It pains me. If I didn't know the Lord, it would hurt me. You know what I'm saying? I'm beyond the emotions of horrible things that I hear from people in the world. But I had a conversation with a brother the other day, and this cat was talking about how he's just made by himself. He got a good little job. He working slavery, you know what I'm saying? And he got a little bit of money, but he just be feeling like, man, what's the point? This cat, he's about to turn 30. He was talking about he wanted to get married and have kids. And we were having a conversation with him. I'm like, yeah, man, but don't be in a rush to just, settle down with any woman, man. You got to make sure that you really, what you got to do is you got to find you first. You know what I'm saying? Talking to the cat, this is a cat I know from in the world. He don't know me as Priest and Captain Soccer War. I'm just an older black man in his life. And he was just saying, man, yeah, man, I'm, this and that. And I told him, I said, listen, bro, what you got to do is you got to find you first. I said, it sounds like what's really going on is you lost. And if you're trying to find something to fulfill you, a woman is not going to do it. Having kids is not going to do it. Making money and being successful hasn't done it. So you got to take some time and invest in yourself. You really need to find, what your purpose is. And so he was like, yeah, man, you're right, man. I appreciate you saying that. And he was just telling me how Told me a story about how he left the city he was living in and grew up in to go take this job. And he was saying how before he left, his brother, his little brother, who he had been raised with his whole life, told him that he was bisexual. And he was like, man, he told me that, man, it hurt me, man. He was like, man, it crushed me because this is somebody my whole life who I felt like, it was my job to protect and watch over him. And you know what I'm saying? We've been together our whole lives. And for him to tell me that, and for me to not have known was like, man, like, bro, it did something to me, man. And to me, he sounded like he wanted to cry, right? But this world tell him that he shouldn't cry over that. His little brother is bisexual. He should applaud it and accept it. And I made a funny remark. I was like, damn, so you find out he was, sneaking it on the side. And we laughed for a second, but he was like, you funny, bro, but nah, real shit. He was like, man, it really messed with me because it was like, how did this happen to him? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, man, it's rough. You know what I'm saying? We taught that we're supposed to accept everybody's life, even though as his brother, that's a horrible lifestyle he caught up in. He was like, yeah, man, but it's like I couldn't say nothing or do nothing. I just had to deal with it. And at that time, I wanted to just tell him, like, man, brother, you right in what you feel. Everything you feeling is right, and you should feel that way. And it is sad and horrible what happened to him. But I don't want to, I didn't want to drop the truth on him over that situation. But hearing him say it, I can hear the pain, and it made me think of all the other brothers out there who's, I seen a video on the internet the other day. Some man that said this brother came home from prison, spent 22 years in jail, and he was meeting his son for the first time. And they're recording the video, and a man in a little dress, middle school dress comes in and hugs the man who's standing there. And the man hugs this man in a dress who has makeup on and the man has a beard, but he's got his hair in pigtails and is in a middle school dress. But it's a grown man, like a 20-something-year-old man. And he says, oh, my boy. And he give him a hug. And it is the most I mean, man, watching it is like, you feel horrible for both of them. I feel horrible for this brother who did all this time in jail, who comes home and wants to hug his son and then walks this thing in a dress. And I feel bad for the little boy inside of this grown-ass man who's in this dress, who you should not appear to this. You should not appear this way before your father the first time seeing him after he got out of jail. Even if that's how you choose to live your life, even if you are the biggest flaming homosexual on the streets, that's not how you present yourself to your father for the first time after 21 years. And there's a hug and an awkward ass. It's awkward, man. And it's because this society is feeding off of teaching you to go against that thing that you know is right and to embrace the thing that you know is the most absolute shame. That's shameful thing that you could imagine. Like the spirit of righteousness is being crushed in this place. Even where there was no spirit of righteousness before, it is being crushed in this place. And it's only here where the Lord is looking for the praise that he know he deserves. It is only here that the Lord is saying, I am holding back the punishment and the judgment, because here is where I am refining you. Here is where I am choosing you. This is the furnace of affliction. And he ain't doing it for us. Don't think he did it for you because you was great or you was amazing. He did it for himself. The Lord wants a nation for his name's sake, so that the earth don't think he's a joke, so the earth don't think he don't exist anymore. There was a time when the earth knew that he existed. The earth knew the fear before him. We living in a time where they trying to get rid of that fear. They trying to make it like he don't exist. And you think he gonna take that? No. No. And when the curtain falls and when the judgment comes, the earth is going to know exactly why. It is the same way I am telling you of these things that have bothered me. I can only imagine what the Most High feels. And it is the reason why every day of my life I'm constantly fighting to remain on this side, because I know, having been given the grace and the mercy of the Most High to understand his word and to understand what it is that he's coming to do to this place, brother, I do not want to be on that other side in that day. Salakia. Let me drop that. All right, that was Isaiah chapter 48, verse 9 through 11. All right, we're going to drop that again. The topic of tonight's class is the power that we serve is just. You understand? The power that we serve is just. The Most High is not unequal in any of his ways. Nothing, and here's why. You are going to go through things in your life where you are going to feel like, why me? There are going to be things that happen in your life where you're going to feel like, God, surely God is against me. If there was a God, if he was real, these things wouldn't be happening. And I'm telling you, I'm warning you now that that is the absolutely the wrong spirit to be in. These things are happening to you because why not? They're happening to you because if you endure and if you make it through and get to the other side, how wonderful of a testimony are you going to have? How wonderful, how encouraging of a story will it be for you to come from what you've come from and been through what you've been through and endured to be able to say that the Most High, Yahweh, Al-Hayanawa, is worthy to be praised. That is the point of all of this. And if you can't see that, then you are going to be lost in the moment when you should be refined in the furnace of affliction. Let me drop that. Let me get I just said it. Get Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 25. It's Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 29. And again, this is specific to all of us individually. You understand? These scriptures are a testament to the Most High's dealing with us as a nation, but also his dealing with us as individuals. But you cannot lose sight of that you are one woman. And on the day of judgment, you are going to stand before the Lord, and it's going to be you. You understand? No one else is going to be there standing beside you. Nobody's going to be there standing in front of you. Nobody's going to be like, nah, but I told him that nobody, you're going to have to answer for your actions. And it's important that everybody is prepared for that day that you have to answer for what you've done before the Lord. And every man is going to have to do that. So just know that on that day, you ain't going to be able to say what another man did or what another man said as a reason for your actions before the Lord. Everybody understands? It's Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 29. Yet saith the house of Israel, the way of the Most High is not equal. O house of Israel, are not my ways equal and not your ways unequal? Most High is saying, people blame him and say his ways aren't equal. When we go on the street and we teach them, we say that the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. People say that we wrong. Oh no, that's not righteous. That ain't equal. What about equality? What about all men are created equal? That ain't in the Bible. That don't exist. They say God doesn't care about color. Color's all in the Bible. Not only is color in the Bible, but what's more important is characters in the Bible. And the beautiful thing about the truth is we are not impartial to anybody's character. We go out there on the streets, we're predominantly speaking about the issues we have with the Most High, what our people need to do to get right. We mentioned the devil that the Bible speaks of because he's bared a lot of responsibility for why we act the way we do. But our message to our people is turn away from these devils and come back to God. Come back to God because we ain't living according to God right now. Why are we living according to God right now? Because we following these people. But our message for our people is you got to change. You got to do something different. Get out of the way so God can destroy these devils. But we ain't out there trying to change the nature of the devil. We ain't trying to convince devils that the way they living is wrong. You understand? But people say that God, or that ain't. I've heard Christians say, if that's what the Bible say, then that ain't my God. I argue with Christians about that ain't my Jesus. Nigga, what are you talking about? That ain't your Jesus. The Bible says what it says. God says what he said. Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who the world calls Jesus Christ, said what he said. You mean now that I'm telling you the truth of what he said, you gonna say natural Jesus? You right. You evil, dirty, disgusting bastard. It ain't your Jesus. You right. But the truth, Yahweh Shai, when he comes back, you gonna have to deal with him. And you're gonna say, oh, we did all these wonderful things. Nigga, I never knew you. Depart from me. You understand? They love to say that when we bring out the truth, they love to say that that's not equal. God ain't, that ain't right. Ezekiel 18 and 30. Therefore will I judge you, O house of Israel, every one according to his ways, saith the Most High Power. Repent and turn yourselves from all your transgressions, so iniquity shall not be your ruin. Cast away from you all transgressions, whereby have ye transgressed, and make you a new heart and a new spirit. For why will ye die, O house of Israel? For I have no pleasure in the death of him that dieth, saith the Most High Power. Wherefore turn yourselves and live ye. This is the Most High pleading with the sinners of our people, pleading with those who are doing evil, saying, repent, turn away. Christians love to act like there's a difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament in terms of the Most High's word telling you to repent. They act like people didn't have an opportunity to repent before Yahweh came, who they call Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ wasn't the beginning of repentance in Israel. He wasn't the beginning of people no longer sinning and learning to not sin. This was something that was being taught in Israel for thousands of years. It was the message of all the prophets for us to repent, to turn back to the Most High, to do what he said to do. For why will ye die? This is something, man. This is a battle that we've been in as a nation since the days of Abraham. It's the reason why the Most High had to tell Abraham, in that day, your children are not going to be ashamed or confounded. Like ashamed or wax pale. Back to the scriptures Jabal pulled at the beginning of the class. The Most High had to promise Abraham that because Abraham knew, man, what are my children going to be just like how my people were? And the Most High had to let them know there's going to come a day, man, they're not going to be ashamed and they're not going to be afraid. They're not going to wax pale anymore. Those are days that we living in, man. We living in the days where we have got to walk in the footsteps of our father Abraham. We have to find his path and follow it. And it is a path of righteousness. It is a path of faith. It is a path of doing the right thing. Even when you don't know if anybody's looking, you don't think nobody's watching, man, do the right thing. You don't know that you're doing the right thing because your spirit will let you know. You coming to the truth, man. You can't lie to yourself. That's the beautiful thing about the truth. You might be able to lie to me. You might be able to lie to these brothers, and you be convince everybody that you righteous and super soldier, super brother. But the Lord sees you, and you see yourself, and your conscience will bear witness that what you are doing is wrong. And that internal struggle is one that no one can escape from. And either you are going to be on the right side of that struggle or you are going to be on the wrong side of that struggle. And in the end, it is going to be between you and the Most High on whether or not on what your judgment is going to be. You understand? Bear with me, hold on. Um, let's get Romans chapter 35, Romans chapter 13. All right, it's Romans 13, 1 through 5. All right. And this is specifically about the oppressor, about the devil that the Bible speaks of and his relationship to us and the Most High. Because, like I said, when we first come into the truth, the most beautiful thing I learned was that the white man was the devil the Bible speaks of. But as I've lived my life and I've grown and I've been refined, I've come to no longer concern myself with the white man and what he does as it pertains to my life. But as it pertains to my people, it'll always be a subject that is necessary to discuss and to talk about. But in my own life, as I begin to overcome a lot of the struggles that you battle in your youth and overcoming, as I've grown and matured, I've realized that there's another adversary or another oppressor, and it is one that is inside me and is inside my people. And when you begin to struggle against your people and struggle against yourself to overcome the things that are holding you back from perfection, you begin to truly understand the role that the oppressor plays on a grander scale and why he is in the position that he is in and why he is such a worthy adversary for us to have to struggle against and overcome. And Romans the 13th chapter gives you a little bit of that insight of understanding the bigger picture of why there needs to be such a horrible oppressor for us to need to band together against. It's Romans chapter 13, verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. So what is this powers talking about? It's talking about the authority in the earth. Those who have power and authority on the earth, namely the oppressor. Whosoever therefore resists the power, resists the ordinance of the Most High. If you resist the oppressor, meaning what? You don't want to obey his laws. You don't want to follow the rules. You resist those rules. You resist those laws. Then you are resisting against the Most High. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. What is damnation? Destruction, prison time, going to jail, losing your freedom. Verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Guess what? And you do good works, you serve the Most High, the terror ain't even real to you. Man, police get behind me. Hey, I'm seatbelt on, got my ID, got my insurance. I'm ready to get pulled over. But man, when I was resisting the police, man, it was such a horrible thing. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. Do that which is good, and you'll have praise of that which is good. You'll be praised for your good works. I watched a video, man. Them brothers and sisters up there in the Philadelphia school, chili in Philly, man. They was feeding the people out there in Kensington and Allegheny with chili on a cold ass day. And I know how cold them Philly days be. It's cold. You understand? It was such a beautiful thing to see them out there feeding them dope fiends and homeless people and the people that's forgotten about. It was an honorable, righteous thing, man. And that is why in cities like Philadelphia and in cities like New York and in cities like Austin, Texas, and Houston, the ISUPK is revered and is admired. You understand? And that is the same reputation that we're going to establish for ourselves here in Memphis. Verse 4, for he is the minister of God to thee for good. This oppressor, this murderer, this killer, he is the minister of God to us for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. If you do good, guess what? The police going to help you out. When we get ready to go out here and start teaching down on Beale Street, best believe we're going to be up there at that precinct. We're going to talk to the lieutenant. I'm going to start talking to him next week. Talk to the lieutenant. Let them know what the plans are, where we're going to be and how many of us and where we're going to be located at and what they got to do to make sure that, you know, what we're doing to make sure that we're protected and safe. And what they got to do to make sure they operate around our protocols and we operate around theirs, all that's going to be handled and dealt with. And they are going to be ministers for us, to us for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. But if you do what is evil, you should be afraid. For he bears not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that does evil. So they have a role to play. You want to know why it's such hell in our community? You want to know why they always kicking down our doors and policing our neighborhoods? Because we are a people who do evil and do not do good. We are people who treat the Most High like he's some good luck charm. Like we just do whatever we want to do. Then when the police come, what? You pray? You cry for your mama? No, that's not how it works. Don't cry for your mama now. Don't pray now, because all the days you were doing this evil, you thought it was you thought it was a joke. You didn't know it was real. You shouldn't have to wait for the day of judgment to come for you to know that their evil, their power to do evil is real. You should take heed to all the warning signs that you are seeing with all the brothers being killed by the police to know that this oppressor has the capacity to be cruel and evil. And if you do that which is good, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you are evil, understand that he is the minister, he is the servant of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that does evil. And because of all of this, guess what you got to do? Verse 5. Wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. You need to be subject. Acknowledge their authority. Respect their rules and their laws. Not only because you're afraid of the wrath, but for your conscience sake as well. Meaning what? Anything happen to me, anything that I got to go through or deal with the police, man, I know that the Lord is with me. I know I ain't did nothing wrong. I follow all their goofy rules and laws. They ain't got no reason to violate me. So if I find myself being violated, if I find myself suffering some injustice, I know what I got to do in order to get justice. And that's how you have to look at your life with the Most High. Be subject to the higher powers, not only because you're afraid of what God will do, but for your conscience sake as well. You can live on this earth and have peace. You can live on this earth and not feel the need to get high, to drown yourself in forgetting and not thinking about the horrible things that have happened to you. You can begin again. You can start over. You can have a clean slate. But it's going to require you acknowledging the Most High, understanding that he is just, and accepting that there are things that we all must do and go through in order to find ourselves refined and on the other side of this thing that we call life. And with that, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth. According to the Bible, what is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. We have a school here, Salakia. In the year 2023, there is nothing more important than for God's chosen people to find out the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on the earth. All right. We have a school here in Memphis. The address is 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. The call-in number to the school is 901 279-0085. Salakia, 901-279-0085. Get in contact with us here at the ISUPK if you in need of counsel, leadership guidance, anything else. All right. With that, we got class tomorrow, 6 to 8. I'll see y'all live. Shalom.